Welcome back to the Retire Young radio show. I am your host, Joshua David, having a good time talking about the financial markets and how us as the average investor, we have the opportunity to trade like the institutions and not against them. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Now, Al, as we get into this next segment, we talk about retirement techniques and strategies. And there's some common mistakes that the public is making. And one, in my opinion, is they're relying on somebody else to control their financial future, right? Whether that's a broker, advisor, whatever that may be, it doesn't matter. And it's just because they don't know how or what to do in their retirement accounts. Now, here's one of the big problems is they're being sold certain products that really cost them a lot in fees. And key word there, they're being sold products. We talk about annuities, how you're being sold annuities, sold different mutual funds. Let's talk about that and unpack that a little bit. Why is the public being sold these products, and why is it underperforming to their goals and their needs?
Great question. Here's the one thing that I think people need to understand is that a financial advisor, a broker, I think people assume because somebody has a title that they're an expert at or that they're always going to do a great job, which is not necessarily the case. And the truth is that in that financial world for financial advisors and brokers, the emphasis really is on gathering assets to have under management, not as much as managing assets under management. So what is the way that they do that is to basically pass off the control of your assets to somebody else, to a mutual fund manager, for example, or they may put you into an index fund. Some of these guys are doing individual stocks, but the go-to is mutual funds. And with a mutual fund, that's a great business model for a company, for a brokerage company, financial company, because they're getting fees for basically letting somebody else control your money. And those mutual funds, there's some huge fees, some huge costs that are involved there. There are, not only transaction fees, there's management fees. The people that manage mutual funds make a lot of money. And back when I was a broker, I remember probably 2 or 3 times a week, we would have meetings where a person from the mutual fund company, where a wholesaler for a mutual fund company would come in, do a meeting, bring in donuts and coffee and things like that, and those guys got paid pretty good money. And back when I was working as a broker, and I don't think this is true anymore, but back then, sometimes your decision as to which mutual funds to use were based on who took you to the greatest place for dinner, or who took you out to play golf. I mean, I played golf and at courses around this town I never would have played at. Had some great lobster steak dinners, on the mutual funds. Basically, that was coming from the people that were invested in the mutual funds. So there's a lot of cost there that you never really see, but that can have a huge impact on the total that you rely on when you're in retirement. We've used these figures, numerous times on the show, Josh, where let's just say you had $100,000 you put into a mutual fund, and then over 30 years at 7% a year, the return should be over $700,000. But if you're with no fees, if you have just a 2% fee, it takes away over $300,000 that could be in your pocket. That's a huge hit to you. Plus, the choices within these mutual funds are actually pretty mediocre. Yeah, that's why most people, if you look at your 401ks over time, the average return is probably somewhere between 3 and 5%. But you've got the fees from the funds, you've got the fees that the broker that provides the funds also charges, and you are only going to be able to participate beneficially if that market goes up that those mutual funds are invested in. Mutual fund managers cannot short the market, they can't go to all cash, so you're really limited there to only having the opportunity of participating in 1 out of 3 market directions.
Now, that's where you got to really, sit down and ask yourself, is that 3 or 5% average, is that going to get me there? And you really got to think about that. Is that going to be enough? We talked about that earlier. Is it going to work? Now, these fees really impact over time people's accounts, and that's unfortunate. Here's the good news. Some of these products that you're being sold right now, they actually are a good product. but they're not when you have a fee to pay. There are ways and techniques and strategies to actually, we'll say, create your own annuity without the fees
Right.
or minimal fees. They're actually a good product. It's just the problem is you're being sold them. We talk about the fees and people are wondering, well, I can't get away from the fees. What can I do? What are some of the opportunities I have? Do I have to be in a up moving market only? Well, one way to do that, really to eliminate fees or at least minimize them, is self-directing your own account, which means
Correct.
managing it yourself. Now people are probably talking, saying to themselves right now, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, maybe that's why you're listening to the Retire Young radio show, is to learn more about some of those techniques and strategies. And when you come to these investing classes, you see how that's done. You see some of these techniques. I'll talk about self-directing, why it's such a great thing, why we're seeing so many people want to learn more about that.
Right. Well, if you are afraid of managing your own money, having a self-directed IRA where you are making all of the choices, if you're afraid of that, why are you not afraid of your 401k or your 403b? Because who's making the choices there? You are. You really are managing those assets, because most of you don't have meetings with a plan sponsor, or if there are meetings, they're not giving you individual specific advice. So you really are in charge of your 401ks. You're already managing your assets. In a self-directed IRA, number one, you eliminate the fees, and think about it. You're paying all those fees to somebody that is telling you to make your own decisions.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it does to the company that's getting the fees.
To the company, it makes a lot of sense.
Right. But if in a self-directed IRA, number one, you've eliminated those fees. Number two, unlike an employer-sponsored plan like a 401k, 403b, you can participate. You have the opportunity to participate in down and sideways markets in addition to up markets beneficially. In your 401k or 403b, if the market is going down, you're losing. If the market is flat for the year, you're losing because you're still paying fees. In a self-directed IRA, you have assets. You can utilize assets that can provide benefits in an up market, the opportunity for benefits in a down market, the opportunity for benefits in a sideways market. The leveraged assets we mentioned, futures, Forex, and options, anywhere maybe from a 10 to 1 to 100 to 1 leverage. That means every dollar can control maybe $50 or $100 worth of a particular asset. You can use those in a self-directed IRA. What about protection? In a 401k or 403b, it's pretty hard to have what we call an insurance policy on your portfolio. In your self-directed IRAs, you can do that. We'll show you how to do that with a simple option strategy. What if you just want to go to cash? You can do that. You really, in a 401k or 403b, the mutual fund managers can't go to all cash. Maybe you have a safe haven choice there of either a cash, a money market account, or a fixed income account that you can go to. But one of the things that we do in our classes is show you how to be able to properly identify when you want to go from one to another. Maybe go from a cash position to a market position, or from a market position into more of a fixed income position.
And that's probably one of the most important things, is when to be long the market. When the market's going up, now is probably that good time. But also when not to be long, especially when the market is going down. How could that impact your retirement account? Think about that. Now, especially when you use leverage, that's where you're able to use. Everybody thinks that they have to be 100% invested in the market. If you are, that's 100% at risk. Think about using partially some of your capital and then some of it on the sidelines. There's techniques and strategies that allow you to do that. You just have to learn how. That first step is taking some action. Coming up next, we're going to talk more about self-directing, the type of investors or the type of people that come to these investing classes, and also how to start. We'll be right back.